This question says circle C can be mapped onto circle D by a translation and a dilation to prove that they are actually similar. So the first thing we need to pay attention to is the fact that it says circle C is mapped onto circle D. That means it's going from a large circle onto a smaller one. So that means the dilation has to be smaller. So if that's the case, then I can automatically eliminate A because 5/2 is bigger, and that doesn't help. That's actually 2.5 times. D is also out. So I can tell that the ratio is going to be 2 to 5. The other way that I can tell that is the radius of C is 5 and the radius of D is 2. So the last thing that we need to figure out is which translation we would use. So the first thing I notice is C, in order to get to D, I need to move to the left 3 units. So I'm going to make a note that I have to go left 3, and then I have to go up 3 units. So the transformation that would indicate that would actually be choice B. The x minus 3 is for the left, and the y plus 3 means add 3 in the y direction. So the answer is B. Question number 2 asks us to find the coordinates of point E in the parallelogram. Hopefully you notice that point E is right where the diagonals intersect. And I don't know if you remember, but the diagonals of a parallelogram always bisect each other. So that means they cut each other in half. So actually point E is right in the middle. And if it's right in the middle, then what we need to find is the midpoint. And hopefully your teachers taught you the midpoint formula. It's really the average of the x's, so you add x1 and x2, and then since there are 2 terms, you have to divide by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divide by 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 2 coordinates they gave me. So they gave me 3, 5 and 12, 8. The first x coordinate is positive 3 and the other x coordinate is 12. So I'm going to set that up in the equation real quickly. So when I substituted into the midpoint formula, I added the x's and I got 15/2. I added the y values and got 13/2. And since this question is multiple choice, the answer must be choice C. Be careful not to confuse it with D because they're very close. In question number 3, it asks us to find the area and the perimeter of the triangle. And the first thing I notice is that it is a right triangle. So I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the height of the triangle. So I'm going to do that for you real quickly. So when I did that, I got that the height is actually 18. So now it's easy to find the perimeter because all you have to do is add all the sides that go around the shape. I will do that. And then to find the area, remember it's base times height divided by 2. And the base and the height are 24 and 18. So the final answer for the area is 216 and the perimeter is 72. In question number 4, they ask us to find the length. That means how long is segment MN. And they gave us the coordinates of M, which is at 6, 3. So I'll plot that real quickly. And N is at -5, +4. So here's where N is. And they want to know how long that is. So basically what we're going to do is we're actually going to use the Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to draw in a right triangle. So the height here is 1. The distance all the way on the bottom is going to be 11. So to find the length, we're just going to use a Pythagorean theorem. So when I do the Pythagorean theorem, I get the square root of 122, and you can leave it like that. Question number 5 is a lot like question number 3. If they want us to find the perimeter of the triangle, then we need to know all the sides. So I'm going to find the missing side. Again, it's a right triangle, so we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So let me find the height for you. So when I did the Pythagorean theorem, I got the height was 8, because it's the square root of 64. And then the perimeter, you just add all the sides together, so you get a total of 40. In question number 6, they say which of the following is a graph of this equation. So first of all, hopefully you notice since x and y are both squared, that this is an equation of a circle, and you could tell by all of the pictures and the choices. The thing that's important is we need to find the center and we need to find the radius based on the equation. The center is always the opposite of the parentheses, so instead of -1, we're going to put a +1 for x, and instead of +2, we're going to put a -2 for the y. So the center is at 1, -2. The radius is always the square root of that number right there. So in our case, that would be a 3. So we're looking for a circle who's centered at 1, -2, which is not choice A because this center is at -1, 2. Choice B is centered at 1, -2. And if I count the radius, it looks like it's 3 over in every direction. So the answer is choice B. In number 7, they ask which of the following is a graph of this equation. And since both of the x and the y are not squared, only one is, this is a parabola. And similar to the circle, we do need to find what's kind of like the center. It's actually called the vertex. And it's the exact same scenario that we had in the other one. So instead of a -3 right here, the vertex is going to be at +3. And instead of a -1 for y, it's going to be +1. So the vertex is at 3, 1. Now the other thing hopefully you learned is about the focal point. And our formula always is based on 4p to find the focal point. So if 4p is equal to 8 in this equation, we know the p-value is 2. The other thing that's very important to pay attention is since the 8 is positive, we know the parabola is going up. So that helps me get rid of some of my options. It cannot be choice A because that parabola is going down. It is either B, C, or D. So first I want to find the one where the vertex is at +3, 1.